You're watching Force 13's live streaming service. Erin nears hurricane strength in the Atlantic on tonight's live tropical weather bulletin. The latest around the wide world of tropics. Tropical weather bulletin for August 15th. Well, sorry we're late on tonight's tropical weather bulletin. It's been an absolutely dreadful evening of errors and issues. We're hoping to fix them over the next few hours and days. We'll be working tirelessly. Erin, though, is strengthening, and near hurricane strength tropical storm watches are in effect for parts of the Lesser Antilles. And that is the highlight of the Atlantic right now on day 75 of hurricane season. We also have another area of interest in the western Gulf of Mexico, which appears to be getting a little bit better. We do have about a little bit lower than what it actually is on our books right now. National Hurricane Center have gone up to 50%. In the Eastern Pacific, there's no areas of interest for once this season, and right now it remains pretty quiet. No areas of interest to talk about at all, just a few areas of cloudiness, but really very little to be going on with. In the Western Pacific, there are two areas of interest that we've still got a low chance at for now, but 30% chance for each of them. The western one could be a large, broad system that's slow to develop in the South China Sea. The eastern one may develop more quickly off to the east of Taiwan, through the Japanese islands, into the East China Sea. In the Indian Ocean, there's nothing active right now, and only one storm to its name so far this year, and in fact none of them have been named. Just a few areas of thunderstorms across central India by the looks of things there. Well, in the southwest Indian Ocean, things have gotten off to another busy start with two tropical storms so far, and it's only August. Don't forget, this is flipped over, so it's wintertime still here, and the season proper is still yet to begin. One or two little areas there that look interesting, blowing up convection, but nothing serious. And in the Australian region, a few clouds there of Indonesia, Australia itself looking calm, and a massive shield there of cloud, extratropical low moving off towards the southeast. So checking in on the latest on Erin right now, it was confirmed by Recon 70 mph winds and a pressure of 999 millibars earlier, 16.7 north, 52 degrees west roughly, at 9 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time this August 14th. It is 893 kilometers from Barbados, 971 from Martinique, 976 from Guadeloupe, 1027 from Antigua, and 1500 from San Juan. Now with more imagery and the latest on the storm, it's over to myself once again in the studio. Yep, how you know that's a pre-record? Well, this is Force 13 Live, and we are tracking Tropical Storm Erin live. We're just throwing up some of the graphics from the automated stream, which is also running side by side with this stream right now, and has been pretty much since Erin formed. There's the National Hurricane Center forecast cone, calling for the storm to reach hurricane strength during the course of Friday. However, it does appear the way it's going, it may end up getting there sooner than that, with the latest recon data calling for it, finding it a little bit stronger. In all of the rush to get onto the stream tonight, I've not been able to find out the information from Recon's second pass, but I think we'll get some news from that from some of our other team members shortly. You can see some of the graphics going by on the screen and that latest satellite imagery of the storm, which is up to the second pretty much. In fact, on the rapid mesoscale imagery, that is very much up to date to about 5 minutes ago at this point. Generally when we look at that imagery, they can be sometimes within a minute, other times maybe 5 minutes old, but you're in pretty good hands. My name's Nathan Foy here in the studio. You'll be able to see me in a little bit. I'm also joined by Ethan right now. Ethan, tell us about how the National Hurricane Center have arrived at their latest analysis, pretty much all due to the recon data.
Yes, They got on their first pass. They got 64 knots of flight level winds. That was around 7:30, 7:40 p.m. Eastern time, and that's what, of course, led them increasing the initial intensity about an hour ago up to 70 miles per hour, 60 knots, just below hurricane status. Primarily based off of 64 to 65 knot flight level winds, and then they did another pass about maybe 15, 20 minutes ago, and they got about the same winds. So a fairly strong tropical storm here as it pushes up towards the west here, towards some of the Lesser Antilles, which are now under tropical storm watches.
Just want to let you know your gain's a little bit high there, Ethan, but indeed tropical storm watches are in effect right now. We're going to take a look at those
Be fine
now, hopefully. There's the National Hurricane Center forecast cone showing, well, we already saw that cone before, but you can see the little yellow outlines there on some of those islands. I'll just remind everyone which areas have been put under a watch, and it's been the case for a few hours now. Anguilla and Barbuda, that's Anguilla, not Antigua. St. Martin and St. Barthélemy, Saba and St. Eustatius and St. Martin. Only the Dutch side of St. Martin as it stands right now. Oh no, St. Martin is included above as well. Pardon me, all of St. Martin. Yeah, I would have thought that would have been a bit strange if it was only half of the island. I just misread that. So all of that island as well. So pretty much all of those locations that stick out the most in the Leeward Islands are under a tropical storm watch, and you can see it is going to get relatively close to those islands. Not a guarantee that they're going to get storm conditions. The biggest threat right now is most likely to be surf. However, rainfall could reach 2 to 4 inches. So that may also be an issue as well. I think the bottom bar is, it says 70 miles per hour on the first time it goes round, and then on the other times it goes around it says 65 miles per hour, so you'll have to bear with us with that as well. We're trying to get everything up to date on all of our graphics, which may take quite a while, but the information is 70 mile per hour winds, pressure of 999 millibars, which a lot of people have been remarking, Ethan, is quite a high pressure.
It is. Erin isn't also. I mean, it's a fairly average sized storm as far as the satellite picture goes. But you know, it might be due to some other environmental factors such as wind shear, and maybe the overall environmental pressure is a little bit higher than average. So that might be increasing the pressure just a little bit more. But of course, recon observations have gotten that the storm has winds up to 70 miles per hour, so that's a fair estimate to go with, I think.
Now, it was a very small concentration of those strong winds, and there's higher winds, well, slightly higher winds in higher elevations of the storm. I see this becoming a hurricane tonight, Ethan.
I wouldn't put it past that. I also really wouldn't doubt that maybe the storm after this maybe takes a little bit of maybe 6, 8 hours or 9 hours to get itself together before it becomes a hurricane. I wouldn't even rule out that even. But far away from any land areas as it stands right now, though.
Yeah, of course, the forecast is quite impressive Category 3 peak at this point. And it's been saying, you know, the National Hurricanes have been forecasting that pretty much since the first advisory. It's going to be a pretty steady rate of intensification, with the most intensification likely to occur tomorrow night, according to the forecast. I don't know if you agree with that, Ethan.
I don't know. I wouldn't put it past that, but well, you know how things can go.
And of course, wind shear's been at and around the storm for a little while, and it looks like it only in the last, how long? Today, basically. Only for a time today as the storm started really to looks to be getting away from that wind shear and really starting to improve.
It's only been fairly recently that it's gotten the conditions that it has. I remember a lot of people, whenever Erin first formed, they were really comparing this to Hurricane
Uh-oh.
Irma, and I
Any storm
immediately
under the
discounted
sun.
the yeah. I immediately discounted that. This is not going to be any sort of storm like Irma. Obviously, Erin formed off very, very off towards the east, but you have to remember, Irma was in late August or September and had a lot better conditions than what Erin's going to have. Now, a
Well, not
better storm
forgetting
that I
that
would actually,
Irma became a major in the East Atlantic, didn't it? Or
yeah,
was, yeah.
yeah, and it went from 70 miles per hour, I think, up to a Category 3 in 12 hours operationally, I think.
Wow.
But a better storm that I would honestly compare this to, I think, would actually be Hurricane Earl in 2010.
Ooh. Okay. Sort of. Okay, sort of. I see what you mean.
Well, for its future track, yeah, but
All right, for those who haven't seen it, I'm just looking at it for the first time myself, so this might be of use. Recon data, right behind me here. So we'll look at the top left. That ding means that the bottom graphic is ready to update, so that's good for those people who just couldn't stand seeing it say different numbers every time it rolled around. There we go. So the top left panel there, the blue line, is the flight level winds that the latest Recon flight caught. And the red line there is the mean sea level pressure that they've managed to get extrapolated. And it's been hovering around the same. In fact, the second pass, they got less winds at the center, implying that they got closer to the center, but a higher pressure. So that's quite interesting. The pressure seems to be all over the place as well. But as for the winds, second time around they got slightly stronger winds there, just a little bit above 65 knots. Flight level, what altitude was that? It was all around the 700 millibar altitude. So interesting. I think it's going to get there eventually. It's a matter of time, and it really looks like this storm is going to strengthen a little bit more quickly once it gets a core going. Do you think it's got a core yet, Ethan?
I would say probably not. I would say that it's got some work to do before it can really get that significant intensification phase that everyone really wants to happen. It's going to take some time, and the main question right now, I think, on everybody's mind is what happens to the storm's track past day 4, day 5. Does it get a little bit closer to Bermuda? Does it get a little bit closer to the U.S. East Coast? Obviously, yes. Models in the past day and a half really have trended a little bit more off towards the west, closer to the U.S. East Coast and the North Carolina Outer Banks. Yes, they have. Not saying that the threat is particularly high, but it's a non-zero threat. But I would say that the chances of Erin impacting the U.S. coast in form of tropical storm force winds right now, as it stands right now, of course, the storm is still 6-7 days out from even being anywhere close to the U.S. East Coast. I would say that the chances of anything right now regarding the U.S. East Coast are fairly low. If I give like an actual percentage, I probably give about a 5 to 10% chance of U.S. East Coast impacts directly from Erin. The most certain impact that I would give right now for the U.S. East Coast is always going to be rip currents. That's always going to be a main threat that we're going to be seeing with these kind of storms that are going to skirt up the East Coast. And it surprises me how many people don't take that threat seriously, Nathan.
Yeah, and especially with distant storms, it seems to catch people off guard. I was just looking through some dropsondes there. You may have seen me gallivanting through there and having a look. I was surprised to see, Ethan, that as the dropsondes were going through, none of them really got very strong winds, nothing over 45 knots-ish, roughly, which is quite interesting. Something else I'd like to show right now as well is another cool graphic. This is from NOAA, showing the I don't know what that ding was. That's NOAA showing the analogs, basically. Similar, all storms that have passed through. Pretty much, that pinpoint is pretty much exactly where Erin is right now. What company does it share? Well, it passed very close to Lee in 2023. Lee, of course, was already getting on to being a Category 4 at this point, though. Fiona, in 2022, started off in that similar area as well. Of course, it was only a tropical storm by that point and dipped further south. Sam in 2021, just on the edge of that outline there, 60 nautical miles away from Erin. Obviously, that was later in September as well, Category 4 at this point. Let me just try and find some August storms here. Well, there's Laura. Laura started here as a depression. Well, it wasn't actually. It was a wave for a while, I think, if I recall. I'm just trying to... Well, yeah, Earl is actually within this area. Earl passed a little bit closer to the islands than what we're expecting, although current position, Earl is only about 50 nautical miles south of where Erin currently is. Earl was a tropical storm at this point as well, so actually that is a pretty good analog, although it looks like Erin is going to get to hurricane status pretty soon, and Earl still had a little way to go.
Earl didn't get to hurricane status maybe 24 hours before it was bearing down on the Lesser Antilles, and even then, as it passed through the Lesser Antilles and exited off towards the northwest, that's when it underwent a period of rapid intensification and became a Category 4 hurricane.
Ironically, Erin 2001 was also within this area as a tropical storm in its first stint before getting stronger in its second phase.
Yeah, it downgraded to a remnant low, and 2001's Erin is the only time that Erin has been used as a major hurricane. So it's not too often that we get an E-named storm as a major hurricane in the Atlantic. I think Earl's the last one that we've had of an E-named major.
Oh, now you've done it.
Because Emily in 2011 was a tropical storm. 2012 Ernesto was almost a major.
Don't go through everyone, please.
I'm just checking out for my sake.
Yeah, I'm trying to think ahead.
Right.
You might be right there. I'm just going back through some more here to see if there's any better analogs. Dean 1989 isn't too bad. A little bit earlier in the season. Very similar to Earl up until a point. Up until it turns north. So yeah, Earl is a very good analog to what we've got right now. Just thought it would be interesting to go through some of those historic seasons there as well.
Just confirming that, yeah, 2010 Earl is the latest E major.
All right, well that's the last time that happened. Let's see.
Very rare.
Yeah, it is relatively. Let's see if we can take some comments and questions. Start your message with Force 13 all in text, and we can take your input live on the air. In fact, there was a question earlier about sea surface temperatures around Bermuda. We'll have a look at sea surface temperatures in just a second. Diego says that they think it's going to pull another Jose 2017. It's got a ways to go to do that. And Jose started further south. Oh, Amethyst points out that Epsilon 2020 was a major, just not a real E name. Yes.
False.
False E name there. Indeed. Okay.
Let's also not forget that the Eastern Pacific has already had an E-name major this year already.
Yes, of course, you had to mention that one.
Well, but with that in mind, when's the last time that both the Eastern Pacific and the Atlantic had E majors?
Oh, don't.
That's gonna be a hard one to find out.
Yeah, we don't really have the time to go thinking about that.
Of course.
But what we will do right now is take a look at the Force 13 website and show you sea surface temperatures. I'm just about to get there right now. And and we'll be able to take a look at the whole region. And I've pressed the wrong button already. Whilst we wait for that, there's one other system active. Well, first of all, we'll show you all of what's going on right now on, first of all of these images of Erin. So there's air imagery on the left-hand side. RGB there on the right. Here's the next lot. Oh, well, there is, yep, a close-up true color image. Obviously, it's nighttime now, but you can see hot towers possibly, but a very deep burst of convection right over the center of the storm there. And exemplified again on these air imagery here as well. Possible hot towers, but certainly a couple of spots there that are really blowing up, and dare I say it, possibly starting a little bit of an eye shape there, but I think that is just a trick of the imagery. We've seen that, and hopefully, no, that's the same thing. Okay, how about this? Oh, that's another viewpoint of rapid scan, looking at the storm there as well. And I'm guessing this is two. Yep, we've already seen that one as well. This is the other one, Invest 98L. And if we just alter this image a little bit, we'll be able to see what's going on the left-hand side. Ethan, what's your take on this? It doesn't look that impressive, but it's been up to 50%, and Recon were in it earlier.
Nope.
It's a simple no from Ethan there, everyone.
Nope.
So, not impressed by that. In just a second, I will have the SSTs. Well, first of all, let's show you... I was going to show you that. Yep.
One thing's for sure regarding that, is it 98L, I think?
Yep.
98L? Rain protects us.
Yes. Just open this. So this is a close-up on where Erin is right now, and those sea surface temperatures pushing around 27, about to get even warmer, 28 degrees Celsius shortly. So this is another thing that's obviously going to go in the storm's favor. So it really looks like further intensification is on the cards, if you didn't know already. And this is a wide shot of the whole Atlantic, and look how much warmer it's going to get in that zone. You can't see my mouse sadly, but which way do I point? That way, up there, further than that, but it's going to go off the camera. But between Bermuda and the Bahamas and the Greater Antilles, look at the sea surface temperatures there, over 30 degrees Celsius. Hottest parts of the basin, though, are in the Gulf, west of Florida, pushing 32 degrees in a few spots, and also along the coast of Texas and Louisiana. In that area right now, extremely warm sea surface temperatures. I can also show you anomalies compared to average. And if we just zoom in particular the Atlantic, you'll notice that around Bermuda and exactly all the places that this storm's going to end up, 2 to 3, maybe 4 degrees above average in one or two spots there, and very warm off Atlantic Canada as well, comparison to average, of course. Eastern Pacific's also making a bit of a comeback on this view as well. It was more 50-50 as to cold and warm, but the warmer water's taking hold a little bit more, Ethan, compared to average.
Yep. How's the Westpac doing too?
Well, there's a couple of cool spots there after recent storms as well. It's evident to see, obviously, Podol's trail there into Taiwan. So cool waters around there, but in the lower Philippine Sea, it's warmer than average, and the South China Sea a little bit above average as well. But overall in tropics, Westpac isn't too crazy, except obviously the elephant in the room, extremely warm waters in the extratropical zones off Japan. Now, in reality, you know, you see those dark reds and you think, oh my god, there's going to be a Category 5 typhoon up there. Well, No, it's just about 5 degrees above normal, but normal is about 10 Celsius, so it's not going to support tropical cyclones, but it is very notable for being much warmer than average up there, and it possibly has helped some of those storms that we've had this season so far linger on a little bit longer as they entered their extratropical phase. So that's the sea surface temperature part of things. We'll just throw it back to the North Atlantic there, just to finish off this point. Even so, you know, the yellow zone there, the yellow outline is where the warm enough waters are. There's still a significant chunk up the US East Coast up to Canada where those waters are well below where they need to be to sustain a tropical cyclone. So it's the Sargasso Sea, it's the Lucayan Archipelago, it's the Western Caribbean and the Western Caribbean and the Gulf that is where those really, really warm waters are right now.
And even look at the Eastern Atlantic. It's still very much cooler than normal. That's gonna really have any storm that's going to form out where Erin did. It's not as a near
Erin
zero
struggled.
chance.
Erin struggled.
Yeah, but Erin struggled primarily due to wind shear. Wind shear across the board in the Atlantic this year so far has been relatively higher than average.
The meme god says Hurricane Edouard being the last major.
When was Edouard?
In 2014.
That wasn't a major, I thought.
I cannot for the life of me remember, Ethan. I think it may have...
2014 was Gonzalo.
I absolutely can't remember. It may have been close. Another comment there as well. Chance of Cat 5. Well, it's not zero.
They are completely right. They're completely right. Edouard's a major in 2014. I completely forgot about that.
A pretty poor major, if I recall. I did track it, so...
Yep, east of Bermuda was a Cat 3 for 12 hours.
Yeah, not the most impressive major ever, but a major it was indeed. But the chance of it becoming a Category 5, Erin, well, it's not zero, but don't forget just how rare it has been in the open Atlantic for Category 5s. Now, one or two have bucked the trend in recent years, but it is typically very, very, very uncommon, and Category 4 is much more common, and I think that's probably what we're going to get. A minimal Category... Well, don't want to say minimal, but 115 knots, 130 mile per hour Category 4 is probably what I would forecast anyway. According to Amethyst, our moderator and team member, hearing a couple of hours ago from Recon that there were thoughts of a center relocation. Is that still on the cards?
I would say that it's not a center relocation. It's rather that the lower level circulation, the mid level circulation, and the upper level circulations aren't necessarily stacked right on top of one another, and that is going to be a hindrance for Erin going forward. It's got to get those centers stacked if it really wants to do anything. Trust me, it will do that with time. But in the short term, that could prevent it from doing anything really big. It's not going to prevent it from becoming a hurricane, but it might prevent any significant intensification for the next, 24 hours or so.
All right, if this helps, this is experimental simulated microwave imagery of the last few hours. And you can see, last 2 hours actually, looks pretty established to me from what I can see there, Ethan.
It is fairly established, but you'll notice still a little bit of shear from the north.
Oh yeah.
A lot of the convective pattern is still on the southern side of the circulation. It's still
absolutely.
It's trying, especially in the latest 12 to 24 hours. It's got its act really together, but still a lot of the convective activity remains on the southern side of the circulation. And you can tell if you were to loop on the tele-imagery side of things, you can tell that there is some wind shear from the north. You can see those cloud tops on the southern side of the circulation are really fanning out, and the as wind shear takes hold of the circulation.
Yeah. Have you got anything that you're able to show us right now, Ethan? I just want to make sure that we got everything
I can show
sorted out here.
satellite imagery.
If it's views that we haven't seen yet, I don't mind.
Probably not.
All right. Well, see if you can find something interesting. But in the meantime, let's reiterate.
Well, there's something I would pull up if I had it, but it's WSV3.
We're gonna get
I don't know
that
if you're able
soon.
I don't know if you're able to pull this up. Are you able to pull up the wind radius forecast on with the NHC cone overlaid?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that. Let's cross over.
I wanted to see how close it's going to get to the Lesser Antilles.
Right. Let's figure this out. Press some buttons. Okay, so there's the forecast. That's saying category 4 on that forecast. That is not true, I'd like to point out.
Yeah, that's WSV3 almost never gets the category right. There should be a button you have to press called wind radii forecast or something like that.
Got it.
To meet in the cone section.
So there's
It'll only go
wind,
out 3 days.
the wind radius forecast here. The blue, I assume, is tropical storm force winds.
Yep, the outer ring is tropical storm force winds. That inner kind of darker purple is 60-mile-per-hour winds. And, of course, those brighter pinks in the middle, that's, of course, a hurricane force.
So as you can see, as it stands... Did I press the wrong button? I did. Which button is it? Okay, I guess it's none of them. Oh, it's that one. It's to get my distance calculator. So at the closest point on the forecast at the minute, 50 miles from tropical storm force winds. I should know which island that is. I think that is Anguilla. Yes, 50 miles from Anguilla there, according to the latest forecast. Now, given that the storm is still a fair distance away from this area, 718 miles, there is still room for the storm to pass further south. Indeed, if it followed the southern edge of the cone, which is this, that would obviously put storm force winds firmly over the island, over several of those islands. In fact, all of the ones that have tropical storm watches, and possibly more than that. So it definitely is a possibility that you could get those winds. Hurricane force winds, well, I would say it's unlikely for anywhere in the Lesser Antilles to get hurricane force winds. It would have to leave the cone to do that. Not impossible, but now it won't. Okay. Nope, it's there. No. I'm fighting with my pen here. All right. Barrel of laughs. Right. Yeah, that cone looks completely wrong. But there's the wind field moving on later on in the cone, and eventually it's going to get somewhere close to Bermuda, which I always have a nightmare trying to find on this map. Bermuda is here somewhere. Can anyone spot it? Oh, yeah, it's there. There's Bermuda. Oh, I've done it again. It's really finicky, this pen. Okay, so there's Bermuda. It's still, you know, as it stands right now, GFS and Euro, Ethan, both call for the storm to pass between Bermuda and the US East Coast and not hit either.
Most models do. Most models do take the storm in between the two island nations. So it's going to be a very close call. I think right after that, I think maybe towards day 7, day 8, a very sharp, the storm is going to take that northern turn. But I think really once it gets towards the northwest of Bermuda, a very sharp northeastward turn is going to be what's going to kill off Erin as it turns into the post-tropics. just looking at the GFS model run, the 168-hour forecast point is north of Bermuda, and then 24 hours later, it's east of Newfoundland.
Yep, goes really quickly. We'll be looking at models properly in a few minutes. I thought Recon might have been leaving, but they're actually going in for another pass by the looks of it.
Goody. Just noting here, you won't be able to see this on your end whenever you go to the model section here, but post-tropical Erin on the latest GFS run absolutely bombs out in the North Atlantic down to 940 millibars as a post-tropical cyclone.
It does. I think it was doing something similar in the last run as well.
Yeah, and then it comes and visits you.
Sorry?
And then it comes and visits you in the long range.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Something else that I'd like to show as well that we haven't yet shown is the rainfall forecast from the National Hurricane Center as well, showing which areas are going to be receiving those rainfall amounts isolated up to 6 inches there, they've pointed out, in parts of Puerto Rico and also for the Virgin Islands, and up to 4 inches for... which one is that? I think that's St. Kitts and Nevis there. And for some of those areas, getting up to 4 inches on some of those northern islands.
Okay, I've got some news here.
Okay.
So there is a interpolated model run called DRCL. I'm not sure what it stands for. But normally DRCL is exactly what the National Hurricane Center is going to forecast. And it's just came out, and it is showing a Category 4 peak by day 3.
Ooh. Well, maybe that's what they will do.
So that could be coming at the National Hurricane Center's next advisory in about an hour and a half. It would not, given the current intensity, given that it is ahead of schedule, I would probably forecast a Category 4 at this point. I would only go with 130 miles per hour. Probably a little bit conservative on this side of things, given the uncertain future in Erin, past day 3, past day 4. But certainly a major hurricane nonetheless inbound, and we'll have to wait and see what the National Hurricane Center has confirmed in about an hour and a half.
The DRCL is the Di Maria Radii Clipper model.
Oh, thank you. I'm not sure what it stands for. I appreciate it.
It will be something to do with, well, it's to do with the wind radii. I think it's used maybe to calculate those wind radii that we were just looking at. I'm not sure. I'm not that techie, but here's there's a wide shot of the Atlantic right now as well, showing you the full picture. And you know, sometimes people say, well, what's all this Atlantic bias? But it really is the only thing that's active right now. The rest of the world is pretty quiet. Ethan would have told you otherwise, because he'll be telling you all about the Eastern Pacific. But
well, the remnants of Podol is still active over China.
Are they actually? I thought they'd be long gone by now.
Not to mention something that's gone overlooked, especially with recent typhoon history in the past few years. We actually had an aviation accident due to Podol, actually.
Yes.
It's fairly... I swear, all of these aviation accidents regarding tropical cyclones always happen in the Western Pacific. What is it with these Western Pacific nations operating aviation stuff with a typhoon just offshore of Taiwan? It's extremely dangerous. You shouldn't be doing it.
Well, you know, a lot of these places are very... they care about their business. Unfortunately, it can result in problems.
Well, there's also 99W in the Western Pacific, but it's not going to do anything.
Oh, this is an interesting picture, actually. I'm just going to show you an image from earlier.
Show.
Just waiting for it to show here. Yes, very pretty. Look at the amount of dust it's been chugging along with it, Erin.
Oh my goodness.
Hey?
Holy cow.
Very pretty, though, picture. But this was Erin earlier on when we still had daylight, but the whole northern side there full of dust.
That might be a potential inhibitor for the storm. Maybe if it's getting some dust into that lower levels.
Let's
But
just,
at the same time, if it gets just the right amount of dust in that circulation, that could help it clear out an eye, maybe.
well, I don't know. Let's go back to the latest image on this. It's a lot of fidgeting with buttons. That's obviously an infrared view there. Let's just see what else we've got. I always like to look at, well, that's unenhanced infrared there. Water vapor, that is some nice imagery. And air mass, which is something that we've not shown you yet either. Sometimes you can detect things in structure a little bit better on the air mass satellite imagery, although not at the moment. There's a ton of convection all the way over, and that's what we were looking at just before. So again, another viewpoint of Erin right there. Okay, in just a couple of minutes we'll start looking at all of what the GFS model has to tell us tonight, which I'm sure is a lot of people's favorite part, because sometimes it does pretty wacky things. Obviously everyone's going to want to find out what it does with Erin. Ethan sort of alluded to what it is forecasting, but we'll show you properly as soon as I can get all of that running. In the meantime, let's see if we can take some more questions. Start your message with Force 13 all in text. Has the CMO and LLC improved in the last few hours? Well, the circulation underneath, I imagine, is pretty good. I would imagine it's pretty stacked, but
I don't know. I think that it might have. I think it might have some work to still do.
All that. The only thing that's confusing me a bit really is why the drop zones never got any stronger winds.
Well, that is true.
Because it's all the way. Because pretty much measuring data all the way from when it's dropped from the plane, right? And never saw any significant numbers on any sonde. Although I don't know, maybe they just dropped it at the wrong. Don't want to say wrong. They probably planned it, but you know, at the time that they, because when they got those strong winds that, you know, is what this advisory is based off now. Very concentrated area in the northeastern quadrant it was in. So I don't know if they just missed those. What do we think the maximum intensity for Erin is? Okay. Realistic, I would say 100. Probably 145, 150 miles per hour.
I would agree.
Yeah. Although the theoretical ceiling is going to be higher than that. But just like National Hurricane Center cones don't include 100% probability, you know, 0 to 100. If I was to do an intensity cone, the edge of my cone would be at 150 miles an hour, the top end.
What would you actually forecast right now? 130?
Yes. Yes, I would. Probably,
I think that's probably a fair call.
Day 5. So, yeah. Recon in the storm still right now. We're hoping to get another pass before the end of the hour. Weather alert says, could it do a Hurricane Floyd? Well, that is an interesting comparison. If it follows the southern edge of the cone, Ethan, it could.
No.
It would still be a little bit east of Floyd, but it wouldn't.
Stop.
It wouldn't be far off. I can't stop. I gotta say it as it is.
You're no fun.
I know I'm not very fun. Let me see if we've got any more info on the Recon. Yes, they have, or well, they are just passing through right now. Very latest there, just about.
Oh, they are. Okay, cool. We are going to get this pass. I didn't think we would.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm trying to make sense of those pressures. Maybe you're right about the stacking, because the pressure's rising and they're still getting southerly winds. And that was 50 knot flight level there on that latest one.
Yeah, this screams to me that low level center is outrunning the mid level circulation. This is what that pass screams to me.
I suppose there may have been signs on the earlier pass as well, because there were several pressure dips.
Don't get me wrong, the circulation isn't tilted that badly. There's been a lot worse tilted circulations that we've seen. We've already seen a few this year, especially across the Eastern Pacific.
Alright, well, we'll get some more data on that when it comes in. In the meantime, let's do models. This is the GFS model. Hopefully it's done all of it. 30th of August, that's the forerun, I think. Yeah, so it takes us nearly to the end of the month. So this is a very interesting looking structure that it's generated for Erin at the start of this run. Oh, okay. Disappeared. Giving the storm... How strong? 50, 60, 61, maybe 61 mile an hour winds. So it's generate the storm maybe a tad weak. What happens to it though? Well, off it goes. Strengthens into a hurricane before its closest pass to the islands. Pretty obvious there. It clears the islands quite comfortably. Barely even getting any 30 mile an hour winds on any of the islands. Only at the very end there on Agalega. And then it becomes a major hurricane there on the 17th. Which is Sunday? Major hurricane on Sunday, moving northwestwards, getting stronger. And then starting to pull, larger as well, pulling now northwards and then swiveling off towards the east. Bermuda again is somewhere in there. Yes, I see it. For those who may not be able to see Bermuda, it's there. How strong do the winds get? Ooh, that is borderline hurricane force for Bermuda there on that forecast. So that may well be the biggest threat from this storm if it does take this track. Although, steady on, something else might happen in Canada. What happens later on? Off it goes northeasterly, and it misses Newfoundland this time. Earlier model runs did have it hitting. And a very strong extratropical low loses, not very quickly, a lot of its strength, but look how large it gets as an extratropical low there. Really immense size.
Holy cow.
And then well, dying off as it reaches Western Europe there.
Have you seen bigger?
Not much bigger. I have seen bigger though. There's a system there as well, doesn't look tropical, moving off in the middle of all that. Okay, but just about the Gulf of Mexico system as well. Well, nothing really there. I'm not very impressed by that system, 98L. Well, behind Erin, the GFS forms another system, I think. Yes, it does.
Yes.
Now this one actually
Major
does
hurricane
hit.
through the Bahamas.
Oh, wonderful. This one actually does hit. Hurricane through Antigua.
And I'm going to let you know right now it hit the U.S.
Thank you, Ethan. Way to kill the suspense. This is long range, everyone. But this is another major hurricane moving through the Bahamas. Wow, looks even stronger than Erin. And look at that. Oh, right there. Landfall probably is a strong Category 2 or maybe even Category 3 in Georgia. Reminding me very much of Hurricane David in its latest in its later days. And then moving off.
The Euro also
didn't do
has
much
this
there.
system, although it has it much weaker, and it dies out before it even hits the Lesser Antilles.
Let's
But it
hope
does
so.
have the system though, so something to potentially watch.
So just a reminder there, Erin moving out a shot. Then this next storm, if it happens, long range, only forms on the 22nd. Still too far out to call whether it's gonna even form, but GFS is not playing games with that forecast. Major hurricane, potential major impact into Georgia, which would be quite something as well. Well, let's check the rest of the world. Eastern Pacific during that time period. Oh dear, Ethan, nothing. Central Pacific as well, nothing. Western Pacific, this is where it might get interesting. We're looking for two potential systems, one in the South China Sea. Well, there it is. It's quite weak. South China Sea system only gets itself going in the Gulf of Tonkin there. And then into probably China, Vietnam, China, and then the other system there as well off to the east. 30% on both of these systems. Okinawa getting storm force winds moving northwards. Typhoon briefly in the East China Sea, well, twice. And then, well, moving right into shoal there in South Korea. What's left of it? Barely a tropical storm by then, but really getting up there through the Korean Peninsula. Quite surprisingly so, but I guess that's what those warmer sea surface temperatures are doing up in those higher latitudes. Very late on in the model run, at the very end there, a small compact storm. Looks like it may be starting to find its feet on approach to Saipan. Indian Ocean, well, there's a little thing there, but I don't think so. South Indian Ocean, will there be another surprise here? Not according to this run. South Pacific, just a cursory glance. Nothing much here, and further along, South Atlantic, you never know. There might be a surprise there, but the answer's no. And in the Mediterranean, sometimes you can get a little bit of activity at this time of year there, but not this time either. Now let's just go to the rainfall expectations, of course, for Erin.
Before you do that, Recon passes in 61 knot flight level.
Alright, we'll get to it. Looking around the world, but first at Erin's track, where you can clearly see the track that the GFS is forecasting for Erin there just by looking at the rain profile. Maximum rainfall in there, 23 inches, of course, at sea. According to GFS, though, those islands, the Lesser Antilles, maximums of about 3 inches, but don't forget the resolution is pretty poor when we look at these islands, some of them that rise to elevations, especially Puerto Rico. So the official line is 4 to 6 inches isolated maximums. Bermuda, 2 inches as well. Now, there's no high land on Bermuda, so that may be quite accurate, but not very much rainfall there for a hurricane, potential hurricane impact. Elsewhere, tropics looking pretty subdued, but looking at the Western Pacific again, you've got these areas here, maybe 14 or 15 inches, 350 millimeters for parts of Vietnam, and possibly for Okinawa, 150 millimeters or more. Uh-oh,
Recon have turned around.
This can't be good. Alright, let's see what's going on with Recon right now.
They've turned around.
I actually don't have any new data. Have you got anything on your side?
I do.
That you can show us?
Are you using Tropical Tidbits?
That's the only one I got right now.
Okay, let me pull up my alternate website here.
So latest from Ethan is apparently turning around.
Yeah, let me pull up my screen here. Sure, mute my stream audio here.
Whether Bob wants to look at the icon model. Oh, I know why you want us to look at the icon model.
Yeah, see, they've turned around. Oh, I'm on the wrong screen.
Just a second. I'm just trying to get you loaded up here. It's going to take a minute because I've not actually configured this part of the stream.
It's all fine and dandy.
we'll be finishing up in a few minutes as well, and then we'll be throwing you back to the automated stream, which is running all the time throughout the life of Erin. Here we are, Ethan. We're with you now. So they've done that turn there.
Minimum pressure that they got looks to be 1,003 extrapolated. 1,003.4 down
It's
here.
getting higher.
It is. Very wonky circulation, though.
Wonky.
That's what I would call it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. So,
If you really wanted to see their path and their drop zones, you can just see just how wacky it is. So maybe they're turning around trying to find that low level center, because you can see they are kind of curving around because they can get that position fixed for the NHC. Then
yeah,
that might help out the model runs or whatnot.
it's not making much sense, is it, right now?
The storm's making my head hurt, and I hate it.
Oh, not again. Every storm seems to do that.
That is true. This is the Atlantic after all.
What are you trying to say?
Well, you know.
Well, looking at live imagery right now, it's still looking quite impressive, pushing out all of that convection again. But you look at that eastern side, wind shear may be creeping back in. It's got that big mushroom shape pushing away from the storm. And such a big cliff edge there between the colours on the right hand side is the prominent sign there of wind shear knocking on its door. And if it hasn't got a structure sorted out, it's more susceptible to being unravelled.
So as I was alluding to earlier, I do think that we're going to see Erin perhaps maintain intensity or maybe even weaken a little bit in the short term due to this wind shear.
Certainly hasn't strengthened. Nothing indicating that this has reached hurricane status yet.
No.
Oh, it's even worse when you look at the chart. Top left chart here. And the red line, which is the pressure. The amount of dips on that pressure.
It's very weird.
Do you think it might have several vortices?
It might be that it has some circulation troubles. That might be some part of it. That might have some part to play.
Wind's not quite as strong on that last, well, that was the southern side, I think. 61. I think you said 61 knots on that.
Yes, 61 knot flight level on the latest pass.
So, you know, I mean, oh no, wait, northern side. That's northern side. They got 61, is it?
I believe so.
Oh, okay. So that is the strongest side. So, one thing I will say is that compared to earlier, well, we don't even know if that is the northeastern side anymore. But whatever that area is, has increased in. You know, it's averaged itself out a little bit. The strongest winds haven't been quite as strong, but the, say, 50 knot wind field there has probably tripled since their first pass. So, yeah, 70 mile an hour winds. It doesn't tell us that it's a hurricane, but it's still becoming quite impressive. Which way it goes from here, I have no idea. But sea surface temperatures, don't forget, are about to warm a little bit more, stepping up to another level. Wind shear will drop off a little bit at some point. This storm is going to strengthen. It's going to get to hurricane status. It's going to get a little bit stronger than that as well. Will it get to major, though? Not sure the way this is looking. CVK reckons this is dry air getting it. We saw that plume of Saharan dust earlier.
It honestly, there could be some dry air issues too. I don't think that it's particularly high of a dry air issue. Um, but I don't think it's substantially as bad as people are going to make it out to be. I would just say right now, just give the storm some time to reorganize, and it'll get itself going again.
Yeah, it looks that way. In a few seconds, I'm going to take us on a little satellite tour around the world as well, like we do on our normal tropical weather bulletins, and then we'll be just about ready to finish up here. We've also got on this day to show you as well, and of course our automated stream, which will be waiting when we're finished. But in the meantime, I just want to show us a few world views. It's going to take me a few minutes to get these all loaded though, do bear with me. So in the meantime, Ethan, your synopsis and analysis of the Atlantic hurricane season so far this year.
Terrible.
Oh,
It's off to a. I still do think that even with all of the low activity that we've seen compared to recent seasons, I still think that we're actually above average right now in terms of the named storm count.
I bet we're not for Ace though.
No, Ace is far lower than what it should be at. Let me pull up the climatology page from the NHC. The average fifth named storm formation day is August 22nd. So we are just slightly ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
But compared to the Eastern Pacific, though,
wait.
named storm.
Hold on. First hurricane though. When's that on average?
The first hurricane, though, August 11th.
Okay.
Not terrible.
Yeah, not terrible.
The Eastern Pacific's next storm will be storm number 12.
Yeah.
The average 12th named storm for the Eastern Pacific isn't until late September.
Yep. Yep, Eastern Pacific has been pretty busy. Western Pacific has been in fits and starts, hasn't it? It's been once it gets going and it stops and goes again. Not really been.
They almost
misfiring.
They almost just had a major recently.
Yeah, but that could have been much stronger.
Yeah, Podal was forecast to be a lot stronger at one point, but it flopped. So
a little bit of a flop. I mean, still hit Taiwan as it was about to get to major status if it had a little bit more time. All right, let's take a look around the world then. First of all, off the US East Coast, you can see a few thunderstorms blowing up off the Carolinas and inland as well.
Okay, we've got
an update.
995 from Recon.
Okay, that is interesting.
Lower pressure.
That is
the lower pressure.
Yeah.
They've got 69 knot flight level winds as well.
Okay, that is getting interesting. We will show you that data when we've gone around our carousel of imagery here. Probably haven't come through on my end anyway. There's a view of Erin, and nothing much behind it at the minute, so hopefully it stays that way for a while, all on its own. There's the far eastern Pacific, a few thunderstorms over Mexico. Really very poor looking tropical system there. And the thing in the Bay of Campeche as well, which looks similarly bad. Still don't know why that's 50%. Central Pacific, we don't often look at this on the normal weather bulletins, but there's a view of it right now, not much going on. Western Pacific, somewhere in all of that is what's left of the remnants of Podal. There's still a little bit of rotation going on actually near the top of the screen there over China. Behind all of that, out of some of all of this weather that's going on either side of the Philippines, we should be starting to see those next two areas of interest, one in the South China Sea, the other one east of the Philippines, moving northwards towards Taiwan again, but it should miss and keep to the east. Indian Ocean, you can see a lot of monsoonal showers. I mean, that's this time of year for you. On a little line there, some storms blowing up over the Bay of Bengal. Very fascinating to look at. And this is a southwest Indian Ocean, big frontal system, extratropical system just southwest of Madagascar. In the tropics, very little going on. There's a little bit of convection there near the middle, but nothing of any note at all. The Australian region, pretty quiet across the board here. And then you've got this big non-tropical low complex that's moving on through Vanuatu, New Caledonia, Fiji, and onto the northern tip of New Zealand there, looking quite gnarly, if I do say so myself.
Category 5 inbound.
Where?
In the South Pacific.
Not today, it isn't. Okay.
It had a miserable season recently, though. I did the reanalysis for the past season. It was miserable.
Yep. So they've found those really strong winds on the northeastern side. They've found the center clearly much further east than they were expecting it. West.
Yes.
Much further west than they were expecting it. So that probably constitutes maybe a center relocation. I don't know. But whatever it is, it doesn't seem like it will affect the track of the storm. It's not a southward relocation or anything like that. It's pretty much on the trajectory that it was on. But then you look at that wind profile and it's just, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what they find on the southwestern side of the center.
Oh no, they've got 69 foot level winds, actually.
You did say that.
69 knot flight level winds. That, that, it's hard to say because normally that supports a hurricane. I wouldn't say that this is a hurricane given the organization of the low level center, but we'll have to wait and see what the vortex data message and the drop zones and what the NHC says in an hour.
Oh my gosh, it's only an hour away. I don't know if we should hang on for some drop zones because we're only supposed to be doing an hour. We've ran over already here, but you know what? I think we're going to wrap it up here, and if it does become a hurricane, then I guess we might do a status update or something, but it won't be a surprise at all, Ethan, will it, if it becomes a hurricane at the advisory or overnight? Nope. Because it really looks like it's going to happen. Certainly an interesting period. Likely to be a hurricane very shortly then by the sounds of things. 69 knot flight level winds from Recon. It'll be very interesting to see what the drop zones say. Sadly, we are finishing now though. We're going to take a look at what happened on this day. Well, it was August 15th last year, where we had Ernesto in the Atlantic as a Category 2, but Ampil was peaking, or near its peak, Ethan, today. Category 3 at this point, about to move into Ampil in the Western Pacific. No, nothing in the Eastern Pacific, no, nothing. Yeah, I'm sorry. Ex-Sontin as well died off well towards the north there.
Looking at it now, you can see in the Eastern Pacific, you can see what eventually will become Gilma.
Ah.
You can see that happen. In a few days, we would have Hone too, so.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
The next name in the Atlantic is Fernand. In the Eastern Pacific, it's Juliet. And in the Central Pacific, it's Lala. Thanks for joining us, Ethan, on tonight's stream. My name is Nathan Foy. This was 413's Tropical Weather Bulletin. If you stay on, it will link us through to the automated stream, which you can chill out in there as well next. Ling Ling in the Western Pacific is next up. North Indian Ocean, Shakti. Coming up in the Southern Hemisphere, 2025-26, we've already had our first name, Arwo, in the Southwest Indian Ocean. The next name is Blossom. In the Australian region, it's Fina. And in the South Pacific, it's Ermil. Our next Tropical Weather Bulletin will be a live one, 12 UTC. So midday, 8 AM local time on Saturday.
Become an ultimate fan today.